Good morning and welcome to Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM, your premier talk radio station. My name is Adu, and it's a beautiful Wednesday morning. This is Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. And today's episode is on personal finance and financial literacy. And you know that every single time on Everyday Money Matters, we do this with the help of our friends from Nairametrics. And I have with me the money team in the building, talking about Olumide, Lawretta, and maybe soon Ugodre joining us. Hello, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Adu. You're looking cool.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to look the part. You know, when you're talking to people who control money, you have to look the part.
Yeah.
All right. So as always on Everyday Money Matters, we tend to give you an opportunity to ask questions from the experts. And like I said, today's on personal finance and financial literacy. So I'm sure questions will be looking in that area. And later on, you get to participate as well. So please do pay attention. And remember, you can always get more when you go to nairametrics.com to keen yourself with many of the posts and articles that are there to help you with your financial journey. Well, okay, guys, so let's get into it. And we are going to start with a couple of questions. So I have a couple of them here that have been sent in to us, and perhaps you want to send in yours as well. You can do that as well. Hopefully we'll get the time to get to you. The WhatsApp line is 0809-234-5913. That's 0809-234-5913. Right, let's get into it. So this one is coming in and says, please, I just submitted an e-dividend form at my bank last week. The question is, how long do you think it will take before the dividends get paid? Do I need to visit the registrar in person?
I don't think so, because once you filled details properly and you've gotten the bank correctly, the name of the registrar and the shares you want to pay, you've indicated all necessary. I think within 5 to 10 working days, it's a straightforward thing. You get your funds credited. The only issue is that if you're a first timer, the process is a bit longer, but usually it takes between 5 to 10 working days.
Right.
I've known a lot of people that get paid their e-dividend without even visiting knowing their registrar's office. So you don't need to go physically. You know, once you have the detailed field. Yeah.
I think Lawretta wants to say something. Lawretta, go ahead.
Another thing I was I was just thinking of is that if you're just registering, it means you're doing it for the first time, right? And that means the dividends you are trying to get are from their prior dividends. So typically with e-dividends, you're already registered, and then when the dividend gets paid, you get your money. But if you are just registering and the dividend you're trying to get has been paid already, that's where you might have issues, because you might need to wait for the next dividend to be paid, if you get what I mean.
All right, then. Thank you guys for your thoughts. Let's see. Another question here, still in the stock markets area. It says, how can one start trading in global stocks? Also, what influenced the drop in foreign stocks yesterday?
Okay, let me start with yesterday's. What happened really yesterday was that there was record sell-offs in growth stocks like Tesla, Google, Apple, and that was predominantly caused by the fact that investors were switching from growth stocks to cyclic stocks. The growth stocks are stocks that grow very fast, and they've seen that the global economy is recovering now. COVID-19 is dropping, so investors are now going to industrial stocks. So you could see a shift from portfolio to other portfolio. Also, the 10-year Treasury, US 10-year Treasury yield is going up, making the bond market more attractive. So conservative investors are seeing the stock market less attractive. Another thing that was really discerning was that the most powerful central bank governor spoke yesterday in front of the US Congress, stating his administration that is going to support the world's biggest economy. So that kept the conservative buyers much more away from tech stocks. And don't forget that most of these tech stocks weigh heavily on the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange. In fact, about 30% of such volume is traded by tech stocks. So that's really what happened yesterday. So it was not something caught unawares. Okay, then the second question: how do you buy a global stock? Depending on your personality. If you're an high net worth investor and you're Nigerian, you can go through leading fund managers like Charles Schwab, for example. If you have a $50,000 asset, you'll be able to open an account from here. But if you also have a US residence visa, or you have visas in other countries that can be tracked, you can open at foreign brokerage firms. All they need to do is have your ID numbers and stuff like that. But if you have neither of those two, you can go through tokenized stock system. That's buying stocks through the blockchain, and you can. I buy Tesla. I buy a lot of stocks. All these things there. So you can. It just depends on the what you have and the funds you have. So there are so many options for Nigerian investors. Then if you still think that you're still not okay with that, we still have apps, look, Nigerian-based apps that still offer foreign stocks. It's just that the kind of stocks they have is limited. So that's the options available. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, since today is all about personal finance, right? One major question that a lot of people seem to want to find out is emergency funding. And this question here from this particular listener says, what percentage of my income should make up my emergency fund? Lawretta, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, so it depends on, so even if there are amounts, there are rates, so people would say 20%, 30%. It depends on how much disposable income you have in the first place. Because if, for example, your entire income is 100,000 naira and then your cost every month, which is of course not advisable, it's 100,000, it means you don't have enough to set aside for an emergency fund, right? But advisably, I would say at least, keep it at least 15 to 20%, because you want to have something to fall back on no matter what happens, regardless of whichever way the economy swings. So it could be higher depending on how much disposable income you have, but at least have like a 15 to 20% benchmark so that you can have something to fall back on.
Interesting. So, Olumide, let's go back into the stock issue. Another question here is somebody asking about Tesla. It says, are Tesla stocks dropping because of the Bitcoin investment they made?
I don't think there's any correlation towards that. If you look at the fact, it's just a coincidence. In fact, if you look at, like I said earlier, Tesla is a good stock. The stock has over more than 735% in 2020. And what listeners need to understand is that good stocks, the faster they move, sometimes they need to be a sign of consolidation. So what really happened is market correction. But during that market correction, there was some bad news that Tesla has been spreading out. For example, their best producing model, Tesla Model Y, they said they're not going to produce for the meantime, and that really disappointed investors. Another thing you need to understand again is that other competitors are coming in and more aggressively. So investors are now looking at is the stock, because if you look at the EPS and look at all the accounting metrics, Lawretta would like to use, the stock is looking at very expensive. So investors are trying now to pull some of their profits off the table, but the stock still remains very obsolete, very upbeat, because the stock has done incredibly very well in 2021, and we are still looking at more upsides, going in fact that the president of the most powerful country, Joe Biden, is pro-renewable, and that's a positive side for Tesla. So on Bitcoin part, I think Tesla is even making a lot of money on Bitcoin, and they've earned about $1 billion on their 1.5 billion investment, and that's just 7.7 of their holdings. In fact, the other firm, SpaceX, is considering investing in Bitcoin. So there's no really correlation between that. I think it's just other macros, and the market, growth stocks are really affected. Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're also affected by this sell-off, because the world investors are moving now to industrial and banking stocks that they can see that would really come in. And you can see airline stocks too moving up since COVID-19 is really coming down. So it's not just Bitcoin. In fact, it's not Bitcoin at all. Yeah.
I don't know about, because all of if it's based on yesterday's drop, a lot of platforms are attributing it to to his investments in Bitcoins, investments in cryptocurrencies. Like it's strongly linked to his investments, but maybe we'll look into.
Yeah, but interesting. But really why you need to just look at the fundamentals here is that Elon Musk in Tesla just 7.7% of their assets in Bitcoin, and they've already made a lot of money on it already. And they said that what we're talking about Bitcoin is futuristic. They've not started accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for Tesla. So it's just speculation actually, because their Bitcoin investment is making money. So why would the share price go down? You understand? So I don't see that bias. I think we need to look at the real macros here, and that's the fact that the model Y stopped production. So I think investors are not really happy about that.
But remember when sometime last week when they said that Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world following Bitcoin investment, cryptocurrency investments, and all of that. Then yesterday they're like, no, Jeff is back up because if he's heavy in a speculative and highly risky asset, then it's only that regular market fluctuation, regular market volatility would affect that shift in his money.
Yeah, but very true. But I think most of his wealth came from SpaceX. He got so wealthy from SpaceX. SpaceX just did a new rounding of about $850 million. That's his airspace company, and he made so much appreciation. In fact, I think at one point it's now valued at over $45 billion. So that added with Tesla made it upside. But a lot of investors don't really understand that Elon Musk is much more of a tech person. He's not really concerned about what investment he's making. So it's just about producing products here. But the thing is that he's very disruptive, and that has really helped in his record gains.
Wow. Okay, let's see if you can.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot for your kind thoughts. When we come back from this short break, we're going to take some more questions, and I would like for you to even answer a few coming in from our online audience as well. So you guys just hang in there. Well, you're listening to Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. We'll be right back shortly after this, so don't touch the dial.
The biggest conversation on Lagos Talks.
Said I want
Stanbic IBTC gang. Okay, happen to life gang. Said I want your pension of Lagos. You know me, who gang? You are moving to the switch gang. It can be with the switch gang. Right now you are moving to the switch gang. This gang is the switch gang. Switch now, make you check down. Your pension go show, make I no lie. Cause I'm big IBTC if you want try. Transfer with the show, so no door. How you go come know if you no try? No confirm account with the no sign. Pension manager, we go show you that. Set our gang. Retire well gang. Pension secure gang. Just switch gang. Set our Stanbic IBTC gang. Transfer window gang. Happen to life gang. One pension manager gang. Join the switch gang today.
Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Welcome back to Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. My name is Adu, and you are on to your number one financial on radio. And of course, today we are looking at personal finance and financial literacy, and I have our friends here with us from Nairametrics, Olumide and Lawretta specifically with me in the building. And just to give you a bit of, shall I say, an update, you can get to see many of the episodes of Everyday Money Matters when you do join us on YouTube. So just go to Nairametrics on YouTube and you'll see the videos of it. And remember to subscribe to Nairametrics Stock Letter, Stock Select newsletter. Ugo Dre will give you his stock picks there, and you can get to see them and know what's going on and know what areas you should start putting your money. So just go to nairametrics.com, www.nairametrics.com/SSN. That's SSN for Stock Select Newsletter, SSN, and you'll get to see all of those. So where he's recommending that you should be put in your investment, and it will really help you with your investment. So www.nairametrics.com/SSN. All right, Olumide and Lawretta, thanks to have you guys back. So let's start with the question that's coming in from the platform here for an online audience. This one says, good morning, money team. I filed the evidence forms and submitted to my bank about 2 years ago, and I haven't received many of my dividends, even when the companies have declared them since that time. Is it possible for someone to claim my dividends if they have the same names? I see on the e-dividend platform shares with names exactly like mine. Some shares are mine, some are not. How do I go ensuring that I recover all my dividend? That's from one of the listeners on the online platform. Anybody want to respond to that?
I would say you definitely need to see your registrar, particularly because you're worried about names, about similar names. So although I don't think somebody that has a name like yours will be able to claim your dividend, but if that is a fear, I think you should really go and iron it out with your registrar. Now, when Olumide was speaking earlier, it's 5 to 10 working days. A lot of this also depends on the efficiency of the registrar in the first place, of the company you're using and the platform you're using. So if they are ordinarily not as efficient as other platforms, then there might be inconsistencies, there could be delays, there could be, issues could arise. It's normal, So I would say, since you are not sure, I don't know if somebody with the same name can claim your dividend, to be honest. But that's something you really want to iron out with your registrar. So you figure it out. Your dividend is linked to your bank account. But if you don't get a dividend on the day it was announced, visit your registrar immediately to get it. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that, Lawretta. Let's take some more questions. And remember, you can send questions to us on WhatsApp at 0809-234-5913. This one is from Larry. It says, good morning, Lagos Talks. Can you please advise on various investment opportunities one can leverage on to make a reasonable return within 1 to 6 months? That's one of the listeners on air joining us on WhatsApp. What do you want to say about that, Lawretta?
I don't want to. I like to discourage that bias. You don't look at investments like that in the short term. Though you have investment that can really give you impressive returns within short time, but that's not the ideal form of investment. In fact, one of the leading investors of all time, Warren Buffett, has said that if you should make investment like planting a tree. And that's just to tell you that it takes a lot and it takes time. First of all, you need to do research. So just mentioning assets is not what investment is really about. You need to do your due diligence. You need to understand your net worth. There are a lot of things that come in parameter, your age, your earnings, what risk you are exposed to, and things like that. So giving such direct answer will not be appropriate right now. Thank you.
Okay. So is there any clue or anything the person should probably look out for?
Clue, first of all, well, if he is really insisting on, if he has proper earnings, he can go for mutual funds, investment banks, all our regulated ones. There's so many out there. That's a kind of passive investment where the fund manager of that investment firm will plan his money for him, and he will get a kind of return. I don't know how sophisticated the person is, but if it's a very sophisticated kind of investor that has an appreciable knowledge in finance, then you can also look at the crypto market and the Nigerian stock market. Yeah. So
please, can you take in? Sorry.
What did you say?
The question. I think I missed a part of the question.
Oh, okay. He said, good morning, Lagos Talks. Can you please advise on various investment opportunities one can leverage on to make a reasonable return within 1 to 6 months?
Okay. If it's 1 to 6 months, that's very short. If you want to make a reasonable amount of return, it means you're willing to take a reasonable amount of risk. And I'll say, yeah, that's true. So I would say there's agrotech, there's the this agri space, because you would see a lot of investment. They'll tell you invest in rice, you get 30% within 3 months. Invest in sorghum, you get 45% in 2 months. And it's all exciting. It's all fun and games, and it all works most of the time until it doesn't work out, because it's risky. So in as much as these assets could give you high returns, they are also pretty risky. And because it's a short period of time, stocks are really not going to help you there and all of that. There's also options which you could look at. I think last year, 2020 witnessed the highest amount of options trading, because options thrives on a volatile system. So when the market is fluctuating, there are traders there. Well, again, that's back to what Olumide said. It depends on how sophisticated you are with the trading system. But another thing you can do within this, within 6 months, if you really want to make some good bucks, is to, is to leverage on the volatile markets and make some short-term gains. But if you're not really good at that, just go into look into agrotech, and also understand that you could lose a little bit of money in the process.
All right, thank you very much. With great benefits come great risk, I presume. Let's move on into some other questions. Oh, and by the way, I need to make a correction. The website for people to get the Stock Select newsletter is not www.nairametrics.com. It is ssn.nairametrics.com for you to get that. That's ssn.nairametrics.com. And you will be able to get the Stock Select newsletter. So please pardon me. Let's move on now. Olumide, this one is your forte because it's crypto. It says, what is the benefit of a central bank adopting a digital cryptocurrency?
A lot of benefits. I do. Because of time, I will just compound it into 30 seconds. First of all, the digital currency will ensure transparency. The thing about the blockchain is that it shows all where transaction is going from one point to another. So it ensures transparency. It reduces middlemen. It reduces backlogs. It reduces the operational cost of money. To print the naira, for example, it takes a lot of money. And going digital, you have saved a lot of money on that. Then also, you need to understand that money carries germs, carries other health risks too. So on digital currency, you definitely curb that to the barest minimum. So basically, and you could see that the Chinese, based on, and the fact that again is that the cost of moving funds from one point to another. Remember, if the central bank is moving money from Broad Street to, let's say, Keja, you know the number of security guys they have to use, the number of and that's very and sometimes it gets stuck in the traffic and things like that. But with digital currency, your operational models are smooth as anything. So yeah, I think digital currency is going to come in play, just like the way the Chinese have already adopted the yuan, and we can see the upside in it. It's just that, well, we don't see it coming. The adoption won't come as fast as many as anticipated, because we still have some traditional financial players in the industry, and sure, you have to take all matters to consideration before full effect. But the gains are surely immense. It's just that the little disadvantages in it is that first, we need someone that is very sophisticated in digital currency operational model, someone that understands coding, somebody that understands how to interpret this data. See, it's not names to be numbers and IDs and stuff like that. So the future is still bright in digital currency.
Okay. As in the same breath, there's another question that someone asked here, that what are the factors that are affecting the fluctuation of Bitcoin rates? And I know that's a major concern.
Bitcoin is just like any other financial asset. The same fundamentals, buy, supply, demand, all those balancing. But one of the key metrics you need to understand now is that what's really affecting Bitcoin at unprecedented levels is the number of institutional investors getting in. If you look at it, Bitcoin rose from 10 to 20 when MicroStrategy announced that it's investing to a specific amount of money. Then it got increased when Square and other leading players like Mass Mutual and stuff like that started mentioning Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, when Tesla announced the fact that in their earnings that they had 7.7 of their cash holding in Bitcoin, from 30 around the 30 area to it rose to 40, and before you know it, other major hedge fund players that have multi-billion in assets started. Then don't forget the biggest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, that have an asset of about $8 trillion, also said that they're going to expose their clients to Bitcoin. So with all those metrics, you saw Bitcoin moving. So basically, it's demand and supply. And you know, like I said, Bitcoin has a finished supply. Just 21 million Bitcoin will ever be produced. And out of that 21 million, about 4 million has already been lost, you know. So we are a population of 7 billion has less than uh, less than 16 million bitcoins to fight for. So you imagine what will happen with that, you know. And people now are seeing the value that it's much more valuable than holding your fiat currency. Just this year alone, in 2021 alone, Bitcoin has earned 80%. So you see that the demand has started. Though, like I mentioned yesterday, there was a Bitcoin fallout where within 2 days, Bitcoin lost about $13,000. But as I'm speaking to you, Bitcoin has recovered about half of that price, and that's to tell you that some leading players like Square, a listed payment company owned by Jack Dorsey of Twitter, announced that it bought a specific amount, I think roughly about 140 million worth of Bitcoins, and that surely would arouse other crypto enthusiasts to buy more. So what we are really seeing is that as the price is coming down, the big players are buying, and it's becoming scarce. And right now, I tell you, so many people on the table are not like, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin again, because the way it drops, it goes back up within a twinkle of an eye. So it's just telling you the price supply dynamics is just too massive right now.
All right. So final question we'll take for today because of time. This one is from a man named Robin. It says, "Good morning, Money Team. What happens to a private placement that never goes public? Can I recover my money? The company," he gives the name, I've not mentioned the name, but he says, "What happens to a private placement that never goes public? Can I recover my money?" So what do you want to say about that? Anybody want to respond to that?
No, he can't recover his money. It's just like the stock market. You should understand that. You see, these are very risky investment, and this is secondary market. He got the funds secondary through, I'm very sure, through a venture capital or a private equity firm. So these are the risks that comes in play when you have an investment that goes sour. So normally, except he's a bond holder or he signed a commercial paper, then that might be considered. But if it's an equity ownership, no, I'm sorry, the money is as good as gone, you know. So I don't see any solution beyond that.
All right, thank you guys. I really do appreciate you joining us today, Lawretta and Olumide. Thank you for coming through for us. And thanks to all our listeners, both on the online platform and also listening to us here on radio. Tune in again next week, and please do visit the website www.nairametrics.com for all your personal finance and financial literacy tips. You get that there. And also, if you want the stocks